Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and this will be one of your favorite videos on Virgo Moon, and this will be our Virgo Moon panel. And here we are with Virgo Moon people. So today Natasha will host the session with me. So she's a professional astrologer and an astrologer with Virgo Moon. So she will offer her precious insight. So before we start, let's welcome Natasha and thank you for joining. And you can introduce yourself, talk about yourself, and talk about your experience or journey in astrology, and then we can start.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm loving your series on All the Moon. I'm an astrologer from Sydney in Australia. I have studied Hellenistic astrology and I'm starting to dabble in evolutionary and a little bit of Uranian astrology. I am a teacher by day and astrologer by night, and I'm so glad to be here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. So I'm also a teacher professionally, so we are both colleagues. So in both way we are
Yes.
colleagues. So that's perfect. Okay. So maybe you have watched the previous sessions on Virgo Moon. So first, I will go by asking a very basic question. When you see Virgo Moon, when you think of Virgo Moon, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
I hope everyone watching would know by now that Virgo is an earth sign.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about Virgo is that it's a mutable sign. So we're very flexible and adaptable to life and things that present itself to us. And the one of the most I guess intriguing things about Virgo moons is they are ruled by Mercury. And it's the second sign in the zodiac to be ruled by Mercury, the first sign being Gemini. However, Virgo has a bit of a tinge to being ruled by Mercury because it's considered very conscientious. It can be perfectionistic, very critical, and health conscious. And each sign of the zodiac has I guess, a statement that goes with it. And the one that fits Virgo the best is I analyze. And I think any Virgo moon, any Virgo sun, any Virgo placement could really resonate. I'm already seeing heads nodding about the analysis. And the thing about it, I think some of those traits is the analysis doesn't just happen to the outside world. I think being a Virgo moon, the analysis is really intricate and it's internalized. And I think that's what makes Virgo stand out. I think you don't need to ask someone if they're a Virgo moon. You will see it in their
Definitely.
behaviors.
Definitely, you will see it. Exactly. So I like how you mentioned it's an earth sign because I kind of think Taurus and Capricorn like rocks, and Taurus is the earth, like the soil. Capricorn are the rocks, and Virgo is the sand. So it's like adaptable, flexible. So yeah, that's I
Mhm.
liked that you mentioned it. And then, yeah, you basically summarize the themes of Virgo Moon really well. So let's go over them one by one. So the first theme I have, which is Virgo Moons are notorious for, is cleanliness and order. So organization, details, practice. So you can talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think the thing about Virgo moons is they have a laser focus for clutter and cleanliness. And I think something that's innate. And I think you even see this in young children, as young as 2, 3, 4 years old. You notice how they put things away and their clothes need to be in order and proper. I think for as Virgo moons, the environment is really important. And so having an environment that is organized and structured is important because there's this ability to notice like a laser. There's a laser focus about noticing where there's disorder and chaos. And that can make us feel extremely unnerved, extremely like I know for me personally, I can't work or function if the house or the office space is disorganized. And I've been in scenarios before where as a teacher, I had a desk next to someone who was my complete nemesis, like in terms of disorder and chaos. Their desk had papers and papers, and mine, everything had to be aligned and straight, and I knew where everything was. And so it was really, really nerve-wracking for me to be in that sort of environment. And I think part of that, what helps Virgo moons is to have that routine regarding cleanliness, neatness, because it helps us feel efficient. And there's this feeling of satisfaction that comes with it. And where, you feel competent when the environment around you is clean and structured and organized. And I think I'm sure Anna and Sveta will be able to elaborate on this later on, but other people that you live with can get really triggered by this. I think triggered would be an appropriate word because I guess others may not understand how important it is to Virgo moons to have that clean and clutter-free environment.
Exactly. So I also have Virgo Mercury. I kind of resonate with that. So when I'm working, when I'm doing readings, when I'm teaching, everything has to be in order. The house must be clean and everything has to be organized. So I also have some Virgo traits. Okay, so that's perfect. Like you perfectly explained that. And the other theme will be, of course, with Virgo moon, the criticism or self-criticism. So you talked about triggering. So I think that can also be something triggering for the people around you guys. So the critical eye, the critical mind. So how can you elaborate on that?
It's a really good point you make. And I think as you get older, you learn how to internalize it because I think Virgo moons, when they're younger, they can project this onto others without intending, without realizing how it may come across. But there is this ability to really feel it's almost like perfectionistic tendencies. And so the Virgo moon is really needing to make everything around them perfect. And that includes themselves. And sometimes it can be triggering for others because we have this laser focus within us, we want to make others better. And I think emotional intelligence does play a role here. We learn the hard way sometimes, and we learn through experiences and through our lessons, but it's important that we do, that self-awareness of our faults and our weaknesses. In a way, it motivates us to become even better. And so because we want to make everything around us so perfect, we can have this tendency to want to do that with others as well. And I think in one-on-one relationships, it can be really triggering, even though the Virgo moon is always coming from a good place. The intentions are there, but it can, I guess, in the way its delivery, the tone can come across, it can be a little bit disheartening. And so I think Virgo moons, I think out of the 12 zodiac, can have miscommunication and misinterpretation, especially with text messages, for instance, as opposed to a simple phone call, because I think the way that this perfectionistic, self-awareness can come across can be triggering for
Yeah,
people.
exactly. So at the same time, it might sound so direct, so people are not used to having this detailed directions, getting detailed analysis or directions. So it might sound direct or sometimes rude. I think you guys might also struggle with that. Okay, so perfectionism is good. So as I also have, as I said, Mercury in Virgo, so I cannot really go against that. But sometimes it can be like it can also make you prevent yourself from doing things that you can perfectly do. So how does a Virgo moon achieve that? So how does a Virgo moon beat perfectionism? Okay, kind of.
Yeah, it's a really good point to make. The biggest thing I think, and you did nail it there, is that perfectionistic tendencies stops us from doing what we want to do. And so the Virgo, I guess evolution or maturity in dealing with life and their not just their emotions, but the way that they achieve their goals and their ambitions is to realize that there's no such thing as perfection.
Yeah.
And that everything is evolving. What is perfect today is not going to be perfect tomorrow. And I think the moment that there's it's like a switch or a hill, once you overcome that, you realize, okay, yes, I can, and do this. And that, the cliche saying, it's better done than perfect. I think that's something that all Virgo moons really need to grasp, and not just grasp from an intellectual space. I think it's important to embody that concept of better off doing it than not.
Exactly. And love your flaws and all. So like Beyonce's song. Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think one of the point why Virgo moons or Virgo people are perfectionists is that when they want to help someone, they want to do it perfectly. And because service and help like embodies a big spot for Virgo placements. So how do you connect the theme of service and help with Virgo moon?
I think that that's the word that stands out to me would be selflessness.
Mhm.
um, Virgo moon is always coming from a place of wanting to help, and that place of service. And so when we put the needs of others, because I think Virgos can be self-sacrificial at times, Virgo moons. And so putting others, wearing your heart on your sleeve, putting the others before the self can have, it's, sometimes it can be in detriment to ourselves, because the saying, you can't fill up your cup first before you can help others.
Yeah.
Or there's a beautiful metaphor of when we're on the plane and they're reading out the safety announcement, make sure you put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. I think that's very relevant to Virgo moons, because it's this, you cannot serve from an empty cup, literally. And so wanting to help others, it can come across twofold. And I think, like, I'm going to mention a little bit of human design into this, because when you understand your human design, it can really help you with how you approach others, especially as Virgos, because you could be a generator Virgo, helping others, versus a projector Virgo. And I think projector Virgos can come across in a really unwanted and negative way, because they're initiating something when it's not wanted. And so I know with me, the moment I'm asked to help, I will drop and I will run and be there. But over time, you realize it's really important to do it, that we're in a time, in a space where you are able to serve. And it could be helping others, because I know Virgo moons very, very like self-sacrificial. So they're in like work areas and fields of career, can be even hobbies, working with the homeless, working with young children, working in shelters, working with animals, that sort of thing. So it's almost like there's this sense of seeing the vulnerable in society and then wanting to fill that gap. I think that's a common theme for Virgo
Yeah,
moons.
exactly. I often also see them being nurses, doctors, like caretakers, caregivers, and they also work with plants and medicine and this type of things. So yeah, uh, like if there were no Virgo people, I think we couldn't get like good service on these things. So they really make the standards high. Okay, so that's again you explained perfectly about the internal desire for service. And I also, like personally, for my clients or for my friends, if someone has Virgo moon, Virgo placements, or sixth house stallion, for example, I advise them like, do not help someone if they don't ask for your help, okay? And when they ask for your help, you don't have to do it. If you feel like doing it, if you are ready for doing it, you can just do it. And after you help them, if they don't say thank you, don't help them again. So I think, yeah, you also explained that point. So that can be pretty practical for Virgo moons, I believe. Okay, so perfect. And we also talked about service And then another theme, of course, the Virgo placements or Virgo moon are known as health and sometimes hypochondria. So how would you relate to that?
Yeah, I think from a very young age, again, you can notice when a Virgo moon, they're just more health conscious than others. It could be relating to the foods that they eat, the sorts of things that they're exposed to. And then as they get older and they reach, beyond teenagers, young adulthood, there's this maturity about them. And there's this, even like this innate knowing, there's this intuitive knowing of, this is good for me and this is not good for me. And I think being ruled by Mercury, it's only natural for them to start researching and, reading and learning about health topics. I think that's a big thing, whether you end up studying it professionally or not. Like I became a teacher, I studied education and arts, but on the side, I would learn about health. There isn't a topic under health that I, have not Googled, have not studied, have not, been on YouTube or bought books with. I think that's very common. And it can get to a point where, because we have this laser focus and this health, just natural undertone with us, we can get a little bit hypochondriac to the point where, you know, we become perfectionistic with the things we're exposed to. And the minute, we might be slightly exposed to something that's not considered healthy in our eyes, because healthy is very subjective. I could say eating fruit at night is not good for you, and someone else would say, well, of course it's good for you, it's fruit. And so it's very subjective. And so having this laser-like focus, and I'm going to, having Mercury on our side to this as well, can make us focus on sometimes the wrong things. And having that, just that subconscious, undertone can manifest in various health ailments. And like, I'm glad that you did mention health, because from a medical astrology perspective, Virgos are common and prone to having digestive discomfort, because the area of the body that Virgo rules is the digestive system and the small intestines. So I have seen a lot of Virgos with, whether it be Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, having IBS, bloating problems, and other digestive discomforts. And they end up, down a spiral. It can take people time off work. It can really be debilitating. And I think having that awareness that, this is where a lot of the energies are in your chart, I think that takes the pressure off in a way. This is why I wish more and more people learned their
Yeah,
astrology chart.
exactly, exactly. So that will be like a life savior. Yeah, I often always see, I often see Virgo moon struggling with stomach issues, intestines, and this type of things, as well as allergies, like side effects of medicine, side effects of supplements. So, because like they all go to the intestines. So that's a good point too. Okay, so yeah, they will be pretty health conscious from a young age, and I believe, and they will research and they will Google and they will watch videos, as you say, which is so funny. Yeah, you can Google everything with this placement. Okay, so now one final thing will be the details in life and details and the Virgo moon. So from every topic that we have told, so we have seen that Virgo looks at the details. But how can a Virgo moon person or Virgo placement person can achieve looking at the bigger picture instead of the details?
I think that I'm going to like incorporate the concept of alchemy, turning your lead into gold. When Virgos learn to utilize what they have and see the bigger picture, it can help them overcome that ability that stops them from creating whatever they want in life, because they are so focused on the details. And I think one of the best tips I can give a Virgo moon would be to make to-do lists, check them off. I know for me personally, I make a to-do list and I will add things on my to-do list that I've already done, just for that satisfaction of ticking something off. I think and I have an internal reaction in my body. My cells receive that. And because I know Virgos can be notorious for making to-do lists, grocery lists, and organizing things. And so being practical about your projects and your goals and the ambitions can be really helpful, because that sense of practicality can bring a sense of stability and order, which in turn helps them feel happy. And I think it's that self-awareness can really help them. I think also, because Virgo moons can be or can have overactive minds, which can create anxiety. I think understanding that can help, the warriors over the small details and the fine details. And the big thing is that when you learn to calm the mind, you become more balanced emotionally. And then coming from that sense of equilibrium, having that balanced sense of stability can help you achieve the things that you need to.
Yeah, exactly. So it comes from the within, kind of, and then reflected outside. And again, you explained really well. Okay, so now, if you don't have anything to add for the general topics, let's dive into the romantic side of Virgo Moon, because Moon is also about our emotions, how we feel fulfilled in relationships, in life. So, when it comes to relationships, whether friendship or romantic relationship, what does a Virgo moon need?
I think they need to feel like they're needed.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword. This sense of I'm needed in the relationship, because I guess they want to be seen for their gifts. And one of the best gifts that a Virgo has is, other than their intellectual mind, it's their sense of compassion and service. And so coming from that space is really going to help a Virgo open up, because Virgo moons can have this tendency to suppress their emotions. And so feeling safe in a relationship, and like vulnerable enough to be able to open up, I think is really important. So being seen for their gifts from the other person, from the other perspective. And I think learning, your love language within, whether it be a partnership, a business relationship, or a one-on-one intimate relationship, I think that's really important.
Exactly. So the need to be needed, but let's dive more into it. So what happens you are not needed, or what happens when the person says that, okay, I can do it by myself now. I don't need you for now. If I need you, I will ask you. So how do you react when this happens?
I think Virgo moon shut off. It's this
Oh,
ability to just turn off, because we're mercurial. It's all about the mind and not so much the heart, and there can become this disconnect. And then like, I'm going to again layer this with human design. If you know your human design, I guess generators are going to be very frustrated. Manifestors will become angry. Projectors will be very bitter. And so understanding those undertones is really going to help you manage the situation. And I guess your emotions are really indicators, like your symptoms are, of what's not going right. And so feeling, whether it be angry or upset or unneeded, that's an indication, okay, there's a dysfunction here happening between us. What do we need to do in order to overcome it? And I think one of the beautiful things about a Virgo moon is they do have this emotional intelligence that can help them, I guess, see the bigger picture, instead of, putting up a fight, because we're not a fire sign. It's the earth, and being a mutable earth, we are happy to sometimes go with the flow. We're not a fixed energy. And so having that ability to adapt to situations, I think, can be beneficial.
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, for the viewers, if you are in a relationship with a Virgo moon, so make sure that you need that person or you appreciate that person. So that will be the key in the relationship, I believe. Okay, so yeah, that's a good one. And then moon can also be activated, as we know, in intimate relationships and in marriage and in sometimes like sexual relationships as well. So when it comes to intimacy and sexuality, so what does a Virgo moon need? What do you think about that?
I think sense of touch
Hmm.
is important because it's an earth sign. We need to feel, I guess, connection. I think that the word that stands out to me is connection. If there is no connection from an intellectual perspective, I think if that's lacking, then I don't think a Virgo moon is happy to pursue and go down the like a sexual intimate relationship. I think that's really important to note. I think we have Mercury to thank for that because it's not a ability to just be in the body. There needs to be that connection, not just from heart to heart, it's mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul. And I think integrating those three together is really important. And I think if, like, from a Virgo perspective, if you don't check that box to begin with, then I don't think a Virgo moon or a person that's aligned with their Virgo moon, because it'd be very easy for someone to not be aware of this or not to be aware that they're a Virgo moon and pursue this. And I think in the end, they'll end up in a space of regret or disharmony within the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So we should, as you say, thank Mercury for that. So this displacement will need mental and physical and emotional connection, like all of them together. That's perfect. Okay. So then one final and major topic, and as we probably know, as the viewers probably know, moon is also related to mothers and motherhood or parenthood, let's say in astrology. So let's start with the mother and the home. So Virgo moon's relationship with the mother. How does a Virgo moon see their mother or home environment? And then we will talk about parenthood. So yeah, what? How would you evaluate yourself, for example, when you think of your childhood years as a Virgo child?
Yeah, I think this one's a tricky one. And I think a lot of I'm going to use the word like childhood trauma, childhood dysfunction can come about, and it does really depend on how well the mother has learnt to take care of her own needs before providing for the child. I know from my personal experience, I was very critical of my mother, and in the same regard, I've learnt now that my mother was a Virgo rising. And so that explains our relationship, the correlation, that she was also very critical of me because she had this certain expectation and certain perception of how a child should be. And I think being the eldest child, I think more was placed on me, more responsibilities was placed on me and expectations. And so I think a Virgo moon child can be very critical of their parent, of their mother. And because they set such a high expectation of themselves, I think there can be a disconnect. Like I know a few Virgo moons who do feel disconnected from their mother. And I think a big part of it would be where in the zodiac, which house of the zodiac does the moon place fall in? Mine falls in the 12th house. So I feel like I had a double-edged sword where growing up, I felt disconnected from my mother. And as I get older, I've had to work harder on my relationship with her. And I know that everyone's experience is going to be different, but feeling, I guess, criticized from a young age, I don't think is helpful for any young child because it does affect how the beliefs that you hold about yourself and the programming that it creates, which can be detrimental in years to come. And then I think it takes, again, a lot of personal development, a lot of understanding. And for me personally, astrology was the only thing that gave me an understanding. And I was able to, in a way, I'm going to use the word like forgive. I was able to forgive and forget the way I was raised in order to help me overcome some of those obstacles and challenges.
Yeah, exactly. So for the viewers, again, if you have a Virgo moon child, do not criticize harshly. They will take that really personally. So that will be a big parenting advice for you. And yeah, so we said criticism, so that's kind of the negative side of it. But when we think of, for example, a child with Virgo moon, so for parents actually, so how can you better parent a child with a Virgo moon? So what can you do to support him or her? So what would you
That's
think?
that's such a good question. I think making them feel responsible. So providing them with tasks and responsibilities that are going to empower them. And I think praise is a really important, if there was one thing, I think a lot of praise. I think Virgo moons need more praise than others. And this ability to again feel needed. So I know that Virgo, like when parents have multiple children, if the Virgo moon is the eldest child, sibling rivalry can play a big part here. I think instead of using the new baby as the reason for why Virgo moon, we can't go to the park today because the baby's asleep. Instead of saying that, you want to empower the child and say, okay, can you help me with, can you bring the bottle? Can you throw this away for me? Can you help me tidy up? Can you help me clean? Giving them tasks and responsibilities and chores to do is going to make them feel needed and appreciated and wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So I also liked how you mentioned you are the eldest sibling. I often see Virgo moons and sometimes Cancer moons as well. Like they kind of parent their siblings. So I often see that too. Or they can even be the youngest sibling, but we can see that energy with these two moon placements. Perfect. Yeah, so that is a pretty good advice for the parents who have children with Virgo moon. And then when we come to the parenthood or the motherhood of the Virgo moon people, so, like Virgo energy is pretty organized and they want to take time to decide. So now I want to ask, how does a Virgo moon person decide to be a parent and what kind of parenting they are kind of like they are likely to do in a way.
Yeah, I think that is again a really good question because a Virgo moon doesn't decide to be a parent from a body perspective. They again intellectualize it.
Uh-huh.
And I think Virgo moons study to become a parent. I don't think I've met a Virgo moon who hasn't read or researched, whether it be about contraception, whether it be about fertility, whether it be about pregnancy, labor. There are courses out there now that help people with all these things. And so intellectualizing the process, and again, it's a very mercurial approach, the mental approach, and they would read books about birthing. That's a really a common theme with Virgo moons about deciding to become parents. And I think the world needs these people. The world needs
Yeah,
Virgo moons like that
exactly.
because it's a necessity. And the thing is that other zodiac signs with different moon signs or different placements aren't even aware that these are things until Virgo moons mention. It's like, oh, I read a book about like hypnobirthing or, postpartum period or how to eat for fertility, how to eat for pregnancy. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, exactly. So like we wouldn't have pregnancy yogas and like
Yes.
parenting programs and this type of things if we didn't have the Virgo energy. That's perfect. And for the child relationship, like Virgo moon mother and the child. So how would you consider that?
I think it's really important to be self-aware of how you are coming across. And I think when aligned really well, children with Virgo moon mothers can be one of the luckiest children ever because their parents are really going to nurture them. They're going to make sure that their health needs are met. They're going to make sure that, the Virgo moon doesn't wait for the child to get sick and then go and buy the remedies. I think a Virgo moon is going to already have the natural remedies, in the cupboard, in the home, for that rainy day. I think that's a common theme, and I'm feeling the energy in the room
Yeah.
here. Everyone's agreeing.
Exactly. I love it. And what I also feel that like Virgo moon mothers treat their children how they wish to be treated as a child. So
Mm,
yeah, that's something that is on my mind. It's not just a theory, so I don't know.
I would
Okay,
agree to
yeah,
that.
perfectly. So then I think I covered all of my topics. I also have my checklist here. I'm checking. So would you like to add any other topic, Natasha, in general or anything that is
Um,
left?
I think you've covered it all. I think being practical, being grounded, it's really important. I think I guess yeah, feeling connected to the earth. I think it can a dysregulated Virgo will be, too much up here. And we can forget that, that connection to the earth, grounding, barefoot on the grass. I'm known to hug trees when I see a really nice one, a really big one. I'm like, I just receive that energy, and it's like it fuels me like a battery.
Yeah, definitely being connected to nature as it is an earth sign, first of all. Perfect. So thank you, Natasha, so much. And this has been amazing. You explained everything perfectly. So now let's hear our participants with Virgo Moon. So Anna, would you like to go first?
Uh, what do I do? Do I present myself? Do we talk
Yeah, you
about?
can present yourself. You can talk about your perspective on Virgo Moon and what we have talked about. It's up to you. Okay, basically.
Perfect. Well, I'm a psychologist and I integrate psychology with energetic sessions. And I was really amazed by all that you say, Natasha, because that is how I feel. And for the first 20 years, I was very much into criticism, into looking after perfection. But after the return of Saturn, yes, I think it's the return, I start to realizing the importance of the earth and the importance of all the senses. And since that point, I had a breakthrough my work because I realized that when you use psychology, but also all the things from the energy that is all the matter, all the elements, you can improve a lot with the people. It's like you see the growth. And now I'm not looking for perfection, I'm looking for beauty and for expansion. And being a Virgo moon, I think one of the most difficult things for me is nutrition, because sometimes I like something and I can eat it for 6 months at the same time in the same way. And it's until sometimes that I realize that I've been eating oats with yogurt for the last 6 months, and it's until my body starts feeling weird that I say I have to change something. But I had this thing with the food, like right now I'm being more connected and more aware of what I need. But it was for me, I will eat all the same things during most of the time. And also with the details, I love to watch movies and to see where they go wrong. Like, I don't know, for example, if a Starbucks, something appear in the set. I used to work for some years in production in a TV series, and I was in charge of looking the last diagram of the monitors and then the next one to see if there were any imperfections, or for example, somebody moved something from one scene to another. So at that point, I realized that details are good for that, but on the daily basis, I try to see always the bigger picture. And yeah, I really love my Virgo moon. Sometimes when I'm sitting to work, I try to move things, like try to put them in an aesthetic way. And with the cleaning, the thing more important for me is the kitchen. So I have different things for different parts of the kitchen. From this table, we use this cleaner. To this part, we use another cleaner. So my roommates, yeah, they sometimes get really frustrated because I'm like, no, this is the bag for organics and this is the bag for common garbage. And they're like, what is the difference? And then I get really stressed, but I try to use what I know and to feel really helpful in my place. So that is what I have seen.
Yeah, perfect. So this is for this room, this is for that room. I love it.
That's me.
Okay, thank you so much, Anna. All right. So yeah, we can move on to Sveta. Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm also Virgo Moon, and I heard so many familiar themes that made me smile about the Virgo Moonity. It's mostly for me, yeah, I am very detailed and need to have a clean space or like very organizing. Organizing is my hobby or obsession. But the execution of having all that perfectionism is not getting there. So I don't know what's either that you never reach that sense of perfection, but I've seen more perfect houses, for example. I love to organize. I really love tidy and clean, but the execution is not really happening to the same degree that I want to. But if I need to work, I need to remove everything from my desk. And I think the bed and the bedroom for me is that clean, tidy space that needs to be organized and have million of boxes. I think I have obsession for boxes. I need to put things into containers. As it comes to nutrition, I think totally, or researching on any topics, yes. Like I will research everything to the detail. Maybe it's not only the Virgo moon aspect, but I need to research the food, the health, the brain, everything. Anything that I come across, I'll go and Google and research everything to the detail. So, yeah. What else did we cover there? In relationships with the mom, I think I was very critical, I agree. And I wanted to have a close connection, but I was not able to achieve it. And I think only now, on this journey of self-development, which I am now obsessing over, is where I am finally got to the point where I have reached an understanding and I established the connection that I am more or less comfortable with to maintain a good relationship. And I think, yes, being self-critical and critical of others, not judging, is it's been my like one part of my self-development to get aware of how self-critical I am and trying to reach heights of, I don't know, career and whatnot, because trying to reach some level of perfection. Where are we? That's
Exactly. So you summarized it so well. So I'm happy that like you are like going through the phase of development, self-development, and you are making it nicer with your mother. I love it. So happy for you. All right. Thank you, Sweta. Thank you for sharing. And Mihaela, now we can have your reflection if you have.
Everyone. Sorry for being late today.
No problem.
Um, I think I have love and hate relationship with my Virgo moon, mostly hate than love, but I'm currently working on having a better relationship with it because for me, when I say Virgo, I say a lot of mental anxiety. I have some difficulty in gaining some weight. So for me, it's because of my Virgo moon that I can't gain weight. So it's very like a personal stuff. So I'm trying to study more about it um, and don't be so critical about it.
Yeah.
Study it more. With my mom, the relationship was a bit difficult. She's a Capricorn. So, but I had a special bonding with my dad's mom. And I think a few years ago, I found out she was a Virgo moon.
Wow.
So it was I was very happy because I knew why I had that special bond with her. I was raised by her also. So yeah. Um, I think yeah, I think it's mostly negative part that I feel about it,
Uh-huh.
that the good part.
Okay. So, so how can you, let's think together, how can you move to the good part, let's say, or the better part?
Yeah.
So,
For example, I started to do some somatic work and
mhm,
somatic practices to get more in touch with my body,
mhm.
do some meditations, and also getting therapy and all the stuff. And that's helping me. That's helping me a lot because I'm a lot in my brain.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
exactly.
a lot of mental activity.
Yeah, definitely. So
So yeah,
also Anna is here. She's a psychologist. So once I heard that from a psychologist, when you feel anxious, when you feel like you are not here, so you can just move your
Go
hands
to
like
your
this.
body.
Yeah, and you can just touch your body, like feel your body. So that will make you feel present in your body at that moment. So do you think it is a helpful practice, Anna?
Yes, but I also was thinking that according to each church, you need to explore your senses because, for example, I love the smelling. So every time I need to go back to my body, I use one of the oils, and I have for different kind of emotions or situations. But that thing with the hands is amazing. Even drinking water, it's like when you start feeling things going through your body, you came back really fast. But it's kind of a search to see which one of your senses do you really connect more. No.
Yeah,
yeah, you
exactly.
know, I'm working on all these also messages and dancing and yeah, good nutrition. I like good nutrition. I try to eat very very healthy. I love all these things. And also everyone is speaking about a Virgo being very organized. It's not the case for me. I like
Okay.
when it's very neat and tidy, but I don't like to do it at all.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a chaos.
Yeah. So
Organized chaos.
yeah,
Yeah,
organized
Uh-huh.
chaos.
yeah,
Yeah.
File my
exactly.
Yeah. Also, having no order or having chaos is also an organization, organized chaos.
Yeah.
So you just know where things are, but it's kind of looks a bit disorganized in a way, I believe. Okay, thank you so much, Michaela. So for all of you, do you have anything to add, any topic to add, any question to ask?
I
I
would
was
love to
thinking,
add.
yes, you first.
I know
Go.
you go first. It's fine. Go.
No, I was thinking about this organized chaos because it was a thing for me as a child. My father was really upset with me because, according to him, I didn't organize. But in my head, I remember that I have my way to put my things. So, as a child, I realized that all the criticism that I received, it made me feel like what I was doing was wrong. But now that I'm my own mother and father, I realize that I have my own way to organize and also my own time. So for all my Virgo modes, I don't think you are disorganized. You just need to find out how do you like to organize yourself. I think more.
Well, maybe it's also a need because for me it's the same. I love organization, but it's just not really, I mean, it's kind of there, but it's not really happening to the same. I need the organization, but the organization is not happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. My astrologer said that because I have my North Node in the 12th house, and she basically told me it's better to have a bit of a chaos with the 12th
Your
house.
daily.
So yeah, yeah. She told me if you see one day that you are too organized and too tidy and too neat, that means that you are not okay. So okay, so now
Yeah, as you
Nothing
have,
yeah.
yeah, the South Node in the sixth house. So yeah, I get her point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Natasha?
was just going to add, as everyone was talking, and made me think of something that's common in Virgo placements, is that they forget to eat when they are stressed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real common one. And I think Virgo placements need to be really aware of this. And again, it's like get back in your body, remember, hey, you've skipped a meal, and it's like if you think about nourishment, food, it comes from the earth. And so, being reminded of that can be really helpful. So this is a moment for Virgos when you're stressed to set reminders. The fridge, go, prepare your meals in advance or order Uber Eats. Just make sure that you feed yourself and nourish your body.
Yeah, that's a good point. They can forget eating when they are stressed. Exactly.
Well,
Okay.
not even forgetting, I just cannot.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I think we have covered everything. So this has been the perfect session, I believe. So I loved it. So thank you so much, Natasha, for joining. So and thank you for the participants for sharing and like reflecting your experiences. I love this session. I hope the viewers will love it too. So I will also tag you in the post so where people can find you if they want to contact you, especially Natasha. So this is the end of the session. So thank you so much again, everybody. So if you like these videos, there will be more to come. So please subscribe to my channel. Okay, so see you next time with Libra Moon. So goodbye. So
Thank you. Bye.
welcome. I
Thank
will
you.
stop.
Bye.